Alright, here's my forge, and I'll show you a couple things on how I made it here. All it is an old piece of junk gas barbecue grill. Inside this grill is a brake drum from a Dodge pickup truck and a welded grates in the center of the brake drum. I thought that'd be enough to let the coals drop as they burned and have enough air forced out to heat up my coal, my coal to have a real hot fire. Turns out that's way too much air because I'm using a hair dryer down there, and with those holes that large, it's way too much air. My fire's getting way too hot. It's not efficient at all. Burning too much coal, burning way too hot, and if I leave the stuff in there for too long, it'll actually warp or melt down the steel, or at least make it brittle, and it starts oxidizing and crackling. The metal goes bad. So I made this plate here. It's out of real thin sheet metal. The base, believe it or not, doesn't get extremely hot, so hopefully this won't melt. I mean, it'll melt steel. It gets burning hot, but the point of heat is up above the coals and not on the base. So I made these holes here much smaller. You can see it's my hand here. You can see how small these holes are here in a 7-inch pattern, which is the size of the drum. Yeah, it has air gaps on the outside, so surely air will go around it. But this plate was installed. This is an experiment. Put my coals on top of this here, and I'll start my forge today and see how this little experiment works. But you can see underneath here, under the brake drum, I welded a pipe in. This pipe goes down to this elbow here, this T, and the T is open on this side, and the T I welded the same diameter pipe that goes into the brake drum to the bottom of this. I welded a tire jack arm there, so when I want to dump the coals, I welded this little bracket here, made this just out of junk metal, and this little flapper here, so when I'm using the forge, I can just stand up and kick on this, and it'll drop my coals like this. But right now I'm underneath it, of course, I'm using my hands. But anyway, there's my flapper there to drop my coals from my flume, or my chute, or you want to call it, for the excess coals and debris that falls down there. And then where my T splits off, it goes to a basic old hair dryer. I got low and high, 2 settings. But the problem with the hair dryer is it's really fast, forced air. What you need for a good forge is a lot of volume, but really low pressure. The blow dryer just has that air jamming so fast that my forge gets way too hot. And anybody who has a blow dryer forge, you have to find a way to get a large volume of air out of it, but to slow that air down. So I guess I could have made it airtight and put my, blow dryer like maybe a foot or 2 out, so it took a while for the air to reach the top. That would probably work. But for right now, I'm just messing around with the grate. So the big holes in the grate, way too big, fire's too hot. Put these holes in it here. We're gonna try this tonight. Of course, our puppy Ruger took and chewed up my cable there, so I'm gonna have to refix that before I get the forge going. But tonight I should have all my blades forged, and I'm hoping this plate works out. So pretty easy. You do not need the barbecue pit at all. I'm just using it because it's an efficient way for me to drag this thing around. Broke the tire on this side yesterday, which is kind of crummy, but no big deal. You don't need the barbecue pit, but it's nice to have it as a frame so it lifts it up off the ground. You can use cinder blocks or whatever. All you need is some piping, a brake drum, it's inside here, a hair dryer or any large volume air. The slower the air moves, the better. And you need some piping. I try to use PVC from here to the hairbrush, the hair dryer. PVC started melting, so you're gonna have to use steel from your drum all the way down, and steel from your T to wherever your pump is, your air pump. And if you have a flapper, that'll save you. You can drop some of that debris down, because once you make it, weld it all together, whatever, you are going to have this tube filling with debris. So anyway, pretty simple design. That's it. and we'll fire it up tonight.